Hey guys, it's yours truly back at you all with another one, and it is time for the top 20 strongest spell cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. And I must say that there were so many spell cards to choose from that I had to go by this formula in terms of these three. Efficiency based on the number of uses you can get from that individual card. Secondly, effectiveness in terms of literally playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In regard to the best way, which is prevention, whereas you just simply prevent your opponent from being able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Meaning that if your opponent can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! You win. And another in regard to prevention is also cutting into your opponent's hand or deck to prevent them from accumulating the cards needed to pull off their combos or that vital OTK. And along with the second, third, fourth, and fifth best way, second best way being to stun your opponent or negate their effects. Third best way, whenever you're unable to prevent your opponent from playing cards or stunning them from when they activate effects or try to summon, is to simply nuke the board of all of those annoying or overpowered monsters, spells, and traps that are probably laying on the field. Fourth best way is alternate methods such as banishing cards, returning them to the hand, deck, or extra deck, or basically just being able to send them to the graveyard whenever they have effects, whereas they are either unaffected by being destroyed by card effects, or that state that they can't be destroyed by card effects. And fifth is the old-fashioned way, just to overpower whatever's on the field. And the third category that I had to use to select these spell cards from is in terms of power, and everybody knows that drawing is power in Yu-Gi-Oh! And amongst drawing, the ability to search cards out of your deck and then add them to your hand is just unbelievably powerful. You notice to select whatever you want from your deck and then add it to your hand. It just makes creating combos and plays that much easier. It just makes your whole deck more fluent, combolicious. You just can go off an opponent once you have whatever it is that you want. It's just powerful, just being able to search and add what you want from your deck to your hand. Then after searches, you have draw effects in terms of power, being able to continually draw from your deck. And then in regard to power, next you have the ability to recover from your graveyard or banish pile to either your hand or your deck, and as well as being able to revive cards from your graveyard. And then in regards to power, spell speed. And when I mention spell speed in this context of first turn plays, as in the speed of a spell would always be faster than the speed of a trap, seeing as how trap cards have to be set before they can be activated. So in the very first turn of the duel, Monster Reborn would be more effective than Call of the Haunted. And with that scale of efficiency, effectiveness, and power, let's get into it. The top 20 strongest spell cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. And coming in at the number 20 spot, we have Pot of Duality. And with Pot of Duality, basically it lets you excavate the top 3 cards of your deck. You can then add one of them to your hand, shuffle the rest back into the deck. You can only activate one Pot of Duality per turn, and you cannot special summon during that turn the card is played. But this card has been splashed in with Yosenju's, making it optimum, and being able to excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and add the card you want is just powerful, and can get you out of some real hairy situations where you can fish out probably a Dark Hole or a Geki and clear the board. And the card coming in at the number 19 spot, we have Summoning Curse. Now, With this card, if a monster is special summoned, the current controller of that monster then banishes one card from their hand. And during the end phase, you pay 500 life points or destroy this card, but paying 500 is all the more worth it, as summoning curse is very powerful in especially in this meta, and with the current format of link summoning, this card is just going to be more efficient, more OP, as it will literally stop your opponent from special summoning until they can get rid of it. And the card that's coming in at the number 18 spot, we have Advanced Heraldry Art. This card basically allows you to get 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from the graveyard, special summon them, go into a rank 4 immediately after the card effect resolves, and then if this card revives a Heraldic Beast Leo and you exceed with it, and then use the Beast Leo for the exceed monster's effect, you then get to add a Heraldic Beast from your deck to your hand. So you then have an exceed body on the field and a Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to your hand. What really makes this card good is the fact that it can be used multiple times in the same turn, meaning that you can play one, get 2 Heraldic Beasts, overlay into a rank 4, such as Dark Rebellion, Exceed Dragon, ditch the overlay units, cut your opponent's monster attack in half, power up your Dark Rebellion, then play another Advanced Heraldry Art, bring those same 2 or any other 2 Heraldic Beast back from the graveyard, overlay again into a rank 4, 103 Ragnar 0, use her effect to then pop your opponent's monster off the field and draw 1 off her effect. You would now have a powered up Dark Rebellion, Exceed Dragon on the field, and another rank 4 2400 attack exceed body on the field that can pop another one of your opponent's cards. And the card we have coming in at the number 17 spot was given to Rekindling. Now with Rekindling, this is basically a soul charge without cost for fire monsters with 200 defense. You get to special summon as many fire monsters as possible with 200 defense from your graveyard. This card is literally a 1 card Red Nova Dragon, a 1 card Shooting Star Dragon, and going into with Flame Veils, and when going into Formula Synchron you get a +1 in that situation, as well as with Fire Kings. It is also a 5 card summoner in return. Now coming in at the number 16 spot, we have Return of the Dragon Lords, and this card got the number 16 spot simply because you can revive a level 7 or a dragon type monster from the graveyard, and then if it would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can then banish this card from the graveyard instead. And bringing cards back like Clearwing Synchro Dragon or a Divine Dragon Flame Guard, which can banish a monster from the field or graveyard and then power up off its level, is simply powerful. And then protecting it with Return of the Dragon Lords if it would be destroyed by card effect or battle is just optimum. And the card coming in at the number 15 spot, we have Soul Charge. And with Soul Charge, this really extends your combo plays in the very first turn of the duel. So you can now start the duel, exceed or synchro to your heart's content, play Soul Charge, bring those materials back, and then do it again, which allows you to set up the best board possible to make it hard for your opponent to get over. And basically, if they can't, then either surrender or they waste your time until their life points are depleted. And even though you pay 1,000 life points in return for each of those monsters special summoned by this card's effect, and you no longer get to conduct your battle phase, it all the more makes this card worth playing during the very first turn of the duel. On the card we have coming in at the number 14 spot is Obedience School. And basically, if you control no monsters, you can special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast type effect monsters with different names from your deck. The effects are going to be negated and they're going to be destroyed during the end phase, but we're not worried about that effect because we plan on using all of those monsters as materials for either synchro or an exceed play, and you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except for beast type monsters. Now you can go, when you special summon 3 of your level 2 or lower beast type monsters, you can get 2 level 2s, 1 level 1, and you can synchro into a Mutoria beast. Then you would have a level 5 synchro monster in the field that can negate all spell card effects by sending 2 cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. And if that's not enough, you can bring 3 level 2s, normal summon an additional level 2 and go into 2 raccoons, bring 2 tokens, and everyone knows that 2 raccoons means they cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. And on top of that, simply by playing this card, you are actually cutting your deck down by 3 monsters you don't ever have to worry about drawing. So one card got 3 monsters, which you have an option on exceed or synchroing into any beast type monster of your choosing. And now the card that got the number 13 spot is Shaddoll Fusion. And with Shaddoll Fusion, simply in those scenarios where your field is empty, your hand is empty, and you have no card effect activate out of the graveyard, basically drawing this card while your opponent has a monster from their extra deck face up on the field, you can then fusion summon 1 Shaddoll monster using monsters from your deck as material. And when sending Shaddolls to the graveyard, such as Hog, which adds a Shaddoll monster from your deck to your hand, Hound, that switches the battle position of an opponent's monster on the field, Squimanta, that allows you to send another Shaddoll monster from your deck to the grave, Dragon, that pops 1 spell or trap card on the field, and Beast, that allows you an additional draw, is just powerful. Yeah. And for the card that got the number 12 spot, we have Instant Fusion. And with Instant Fusion, along with Brilliant Fusion and Soul Charge, they are really excellent openers that can really extend your Synchro, Fusion, and Exceed players, as you have access to cards like Norden and Panzer Dragon. Panzer Dragon that can help you go into your Cyber Nova, into your Cyber Infinity players, as well as Norden that can get a star drawing back from the graveyard, overlay with it +1, and then you have an Exceed body +1, as well as reviving any tuner from a level 1 to 4, meaning that you have options on synchro summoning a level 5 monster to a level 8, giving you all kind of options in terms of your summoning methods, whether it's fusion, synchro, or exceed. And it only costs 1000 life points, as you can also bring other fusions of level 5 or lower, not just Norden, but Thousand Eyes restrict level 4 monster to go into a level 4 exceed if you don't want to use Norden. Level 3 monsters for exceed, synchro, whatever you want, you can get by paying 1000 life points. And the card coming in at number 12, we have, at number 11, we have Brilliant Fusion. And Brilliant Fusion, this is really an excellent opener. It has led to a lot of broken boards, as you get a Gem Knight Seraphinite that allows you an additional normal summon every turn, as well as when it's comboed with Trick Clown for the summon of Seraphinite. The Trick Clown then special summons itself to the field. You now have a level 5 monster and a level 4 off of 1 card, cutting your deck down by an additional 2 monsters that you don't ever have to worry about drawing. and then that leads to some insane exceed and synchro plays off of just those two monsters in terms of brilliant fusion, which is excellent. And coming in at the number 10 spot, we have Twin Twisters. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Back row hate is a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it shall be forever. Who doesn't hate back row? And Twin Twisters is one of the most effective ways to clear out the back row, as it is a 2-for-2, being able to discard one card and pop 2 spell or trap cards on the opponent's side of the field. And when used with cards like Perform Pull Trick Clown, you can then discard the Trick Clown, pop 2 on your opponent's side of the field, and special summon your Trick Clown back, allowing you to be able to go into a synchro or exceed play during that turn. As well as it is also an excellent way to clear your opponent's pendulum scales. And also, if you go first, being able to set a Twin Twister in preparation for your opponent, setting a pendulum scale is I can't state this enough. It can save you from ending up in life-threatening positions in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just being able to stop your opponent from pendulum summoning by destroying their scales, and during their turn at that. And the card that comes in at the number 9 spot is going to be the Monarch Stormforth. And listen to me, guys. This card is like a kaiju on steroids. This card, it does not target, and then it allows you to tribute one of your opponent's monsters as your own. And on top of that, it is not a special summon. So if your opponent has a Vanity Sphere on the field, comboed with March of the Monarch so that it can't be targeted by card effects, playing Monarch Stormforth just erases that, so you can get your special summons back and you can continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And the card that got the number 8 spot is Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Listen to me, guys. This card is a Dark Hole, Special Summoner, and Searcher all in one, as it will nuke the board of all monsters currently on the board that are affected by destruction effects. Then you get to select 2 kaijus from your deck. One gets special summoned to your opponent's side of the field and one to yours. You can select the weakest to your opponent, the strongest to your side, run over it, and then during your following turn, you can banish it from the graveyard to add any kaiju from your deck to your hand. So if your opponent does manage to get another annoying monster out, you can banish the Interrupted Slumber from your graveyard, add the kaiju you want, and get rid of whatever annoys you. And the card that got the number 7 spot is Historic Sign. I know some of you are like, what? Historic Sign? Yes, Historic Sign. As it can add an Elegant Egotist from your hand or deck, from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Sorry. And basically, in terms of adding from your deck and recovering from your graveyard, it makes it optimum. And when you're dealing with your end phase, when it's sent to the graveyard during the end phase, when you do not add an Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand, you then get to select 3 Harpy cards of your choosing from your deck of different names and add them to your hand. And like I said, being able to search out and add what you want from your deck to your hand in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is powerful. And the card that got the number 6 spot is Toy Vendor. And they got the number 6 spot because, unlike Historic Sign, it can easily be searched out with Fluffle Bear. Set on the field, flip it face up. You can then ditch a Fluffle Wings to the graveyard to draw an additional card, and if it's a Fluffle monster, you can then special summon it from your hand. No, you can then special summon one Fluffle monster from your hand, and if you special summon Dog, you then get to add an Fluffle monster or a Edge and Scissors from your deck to your hand. You can then further banish Fluffle Wings from the graveyard to draw an additional card. Then send the toy vendor from the field to the graveyard to then draw again. And then of toy vendor's effect, you can then add a Edge and Scissors or Fluffle monster from your deck to your hand, giving you 1 special summon, 2 on the plus draw, and 1 on the search, which equates to a +5 in total. Now then, the card that got the number 5 spot is Pantheism of the Monarchs, as this is an excellent +2 on the draw by discarding 1 monarch or sending 1 monarch spell or trap card from your hand to the graveyard, and by banishing it from the graveyard, you then get to search out 3 monarch spell or trap cards, and your opponent selects one amongst them and then adds it to your hand. And what really makes this card good is that you can use multiple of its draw 2 effects in the same turn, and then during your following turn then banish another one of them to repeat the same effect again, selecting 3, and then your opponent selects 1 to be added to your hand. So an excellent +2 and searcher all in one. And the card that got the number 4 spot is Card of Demise. And Card of Demise got the number 4 spot because who doesn't like playing with their whole hand and then plussing 3 off 1 card? And so what if my opponent doesn't take any more damage for the rest of the turn? Being able to +3 is just OP. Like I said, drawing is power, and being able to continually add cards to your hand just gives you options. Assist with getting combo pieces to your hand so you can establish an OTK or make comebacks in a duel, defend yourself. However, it allows you to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and that is what you want. And now time for our top 3 strongest spell cards in Legacy of the Duelist. And at the number 3 spot we have Zombie World. You're like, Zombie World? Yes. See, Zombie World, it changes the type of all monsters on the field and graveyard to zombie, meaning specific type decks like warriors and dragons who cards assist their specific type are now null and void, as your monsters are no longer warriors or dragons when on the field or in the graveyard. So cards like Wingbeat of Giant Dragon that returns a high level dragon back to the hand. It's like a modern day version of Heavy Storm and destroys all spell and trap cards. And Return of the Dragon Lords, when the dragon would be sent to the graveyard to revive it, because it's now a zombie, it's ineffective in protecting it, whether trying to revive or protect it with its effect. And mainly for its second effect, which is that neither player can tribute summon monsters except for zombie type monsters, and there are no zombie type monarchs in the game, meaning that you can completely shut out monarch players, as well as Quillfort players, because you know Quillies are OP when used correctly. So being able to shut out them, just tribute summoning themselves to gain their level, is just awesome. Shutting out Quillies and Monarchs with just a single card. And like I said, the most effective way to play Yu-Gi-Oh is prevention. So preventing your opponent from being able to do the most and limiting their options is key. Now the card that got the second spot in Yu-Gi-Oh is Necrovalley. Necrovalley because it stops effect. Neither player can banish cards from the graveyard, which means you completely shut out Infernoids out of the game, as well as when cards or effects are activated that would move card or cards from the graveyard to another place. Those effects are now negated, meaning effects like Dante and Norden, Chunk Synchron and Debris Dragon would really build a lot of powerful Synchro and Exceed decks are now null and void. Cards like Soul Charge and Call of the Haunted They can no longer revive monsters from the graveyard as long as Necrovalley is in play. And for the card that got the #1 spot as being the strongest card in Legacy of the Duelist is Domain of the True Monarchs. And it got the #1 spot simply because it just locks your opponent out the extra deck. Who doesn't like Domain locking their opponent? It is one of the most powerful moves made today in Yu-Gi-Oh! You Domain lock your opponent from their extra deck and you sit on it. And then you go to work. On top of that, whenever your Monarch declares an attack, whether it's a Monarch or a Tribute Summon monster, once it declares an attack, it would also give it an 800 attack point boost, making a 2800 beta on the field 36, meaning you can get over an Ultimate Falcon. And once you have March of the Monarchs in play, they can't be destroyed or targeted by card effects, so you really have no additional worries to worry about. Probably a Quaking Mirror Force, but that would be irrelevant, as you can take care of small threats like that. And as well as when Domain is comboed using Monarchs, you can also reduce a Monarch with 2800 attack points level by 2, so that it would only require 1 tribute to summon, which makes this card the strongest card in Legacy of the Duelist. As long as there is a tribute summon monster in the field, your opponent is locked out of their extra deck, and you have tons of monsters that can be tribute summoned and Domain to be comboed with. Locking your opponent out is a walk in the park. And that is the top 20 strongest spell cards in Legacy of the Duelist. The next video I'll bring you guys tomorrow will be the top 20 trap cards in Legacy of the Duelist. So if you like this video, be sure to like, share and subscribe. Let me hear from you in the comment section below. What are your favorite spell cards in the game? And yeah, until next time, later.